Oh god, my skin's so itchy, like seriously, what the fuck? Hey, I'm Colonel Garuda. Apollogeist, why do you keep haunting me?
Do you remember what happened after you deleted your YouTube channel from their past? You went crazy as people continued to bully you even after you took it down. Do you want to go through that again? I don't think so.
That was years ago. Why would that ever happen again? How did he know I went insane? Oh well. Today we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Dino Fury Zord Link Zords. And here we got the T-Rex Champion Zord, the Encarlo Hammer Zord, and the Tiger Claw Zord, and the Tricera Blade Zord, and the Stego Spike Zord. And as you can see, the packaging is really cool, except the toys are all exposed and there's no protective window, which really sucks because something could easily happen to it, like perhaps it can get stolen in a store, or maybe something could happen to it in storage, like you had stored away, and it's just really stupid. I don't know why they did that. But other than that, I think the packaging is decent. You got 1, 2, and 3. You got the picture of their little, got the warrior mode, and these wacky little combined modes that these Zords can do. But it's just a little extra thing I guess they thought of putting in there to make them more interesting on their own. But obviously you need to get all 3 of these to fully enjoy them. But it just says Power Rangers, Zord Link on all of them. Things they can do. Hold on. On the sides, this is how they look here. It shows the things they can do. On the back, it just shows you all the obligatory product shots of what they can do and how they can all combine with each other. And I don't know if you were able to see this one earlier. And it shows you the Zord Link feature that they can all do. They all come apart. This is like the evolution of Zord Builder and the Hasbro's take on the Lego gimmick from Ryu Soldier, which was pretty cool from what I heard. I never owned the Ryu Soldier toys because I just thought the dinosaurs just looked really outlandish. And here's how I look on this side. But I decided to give these guys a look because these guys apparently are really articulated, at least the T-Rex Champion Zord is. And I think this could be a lot of fun. On the top it all says Power Rangers Dino Fury, and on the bottom it tells you that this packaging is eco-friendly. And that's basically it for the packaging, so let's open these guys up and let's see how awesome they truly are. And here we have the Zords unboxed, and I'm going to say that these guys are really, really impressive, especially the T-Rex Champion Zord. But before we dive into the Zords, we got to take a look at all the keys that these guys came with. Now here are the keys that they all came with. We got the green one, the black one, the pink one, the blue one, and the red one. I'm not really going to cover the head sculpts too much at the moment, but these are different from the ones that came with the Morpher and the figures, because each key has a little piece that you can remove, which reveals this nicely detailed little figurine, or not figurine, but you can see some detail underneath there, which looks really nice. And underneath the little cap that I removed, if I can get the camera to focus, that is. Here's the blue one, the black one. You see how detailed it actually is. It's actually very impressive for something so small. And they're all in their own unique poses from what I can tell, which is really nice. And last but not least, here we got the Green Ranger. Another difference with these keys is that each and every one of them have a ball joint at the head, and they can actually move around and can give the Megazords more personality as you can move the heads on these. And this is and the T-Rex Champion Zord is very articulated, but we will get to that, don't worry. And now let's take these guys into the Morpher and let's see what kind of noises they make. Next one's blue. Sorry if you hear the noise outside. And last but not least, you have black. I like this one the most. And that's about it for the Morpher. Now on to the Zords. Start things off with the Zords. Here we have the T-Rex Champion Zord. I always liked the design of this thing when I first saw it in Ryusoulger. I love how it's just armed to the teeth with these drills and these big rail guns and these little cannons, which at first I didn't think these cannons could actually move, but they're actually made of a soft plastic, and they actually think, oops, that's not supposed to happen. Let's get that back on there. And they can go up and down, as you can see. And at the back, there is another cannon there, another pair of cannons that can also go up and down. But do be careful of the bendy plastic. And it's also really, really detailed. Let's get a good look at that head sculpt. Why is the camera not focusing? Oh well. It's got this really nicely painted green eye with the black there. And as for other paint I could find, there's a lot of silver paint around here. And there is some gold paint all around here, which do become the legs, which these are the legs obviously, but it stands up later for transformation so you can see it more. And just overall, really detailed. It's really impressive. Now for articulation, the mouth can open that wide. Nothing at the head because it does pop off. The arms, these little arms here. Now do be careful with these arms because I feel like they're very fragile with these soft bendable plastic. I feel like they can break and get stressed if you're not careful. And the legs. Oh, that's not supposed to happen, like kind of extend there. Kind of spoiled the transformation there, but the legs can move with these ratchet joints. And they can also go out like that. And the ankles are on ball joints. And when you do get this, the feet are separated and you have to attach them on that, and it can be a little bit tricky if you're not careful. It could break, so be careful. But for me, nothing broke, so it's all good. Now, there is a little bit of articulation here as well, and that's also for transformation, so you can have them kind of like that. If you put them on a shelf or on display or do photography. And thanks to the elbow articulation in the arms in the battle mode, these rail guns can actually go up and down, which is extremely nice. And now let's get this thing transformed into its battle mode. Here we have the battle mode, and this is really, really impressive. is extremely sleek and proportionate to what we saw in the show. And all around, it just looks fantastic. In the backpack, yes, it has this here, but I think it's pretty well put together. Nothing feels like it's gonna fall apart when I handle it, unlike the Beast X Megazord, which I don't have, but I heard reports of that thing being very unstable. But this is a huge improvement from that, from what I can see. And everything is so solid. The transformation is pretty satisfying, and it's got great posability too. The head is on a ball joint. The arms can rotate 360. You get a bicep swivel here, as well as a swivel here at the same time as that. And you also get wrist rotation. Let's see if I can see that there. The legs can spread out that far. They can kick with these ratchets. They can also go back that far. You gotta bend the knee. And you get ball joints at the ankles, as mentioned earlier. So you can put this thing in quite a few dynamic poses, like how this thing was running around in the show and going all crazy with the monsters. So let's just see if I can put in some kind of cool pose right now, just to give you an idea. Oh, I forgot, the arms can also go out. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but they can go out that far. So let's put this thing in some crazy pose, see what we can do. And there we go. I think it actually was in a pose like that in one episode, or at least when this thing was transformed in the first episode, if I remember correctly. It was in this mode, in this pose, I should say. And I think it looks really awesome. Now, the main gimmick in this line is that you can take off these things, like these drill bits here, or these here, or this head, and it reveals these Lego-like ports, and you can mix and match parts. And I'm also going to take off the tail here to demonstrate, but if I remember correctly in the show, it had a finishing attack where it didn't say the instructions anywhere I could find. Or maybe there is, let me check. Yeah, it doesn't really mention anywhere in the instructions, but you can assemble the pieces to make it look like that finishing attack in the show. See if I remember if I can do this now, just out of memory. See, this goes here. This one goes here. And this one goes here. Just stick it on. Like that. Let's put the T-Rex head back on. Where was it? Oh, yeah, it's right here. Silly me. You can do this. And here you have the T-Rex fist attack. I think that's what it was called. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but basically do this. And just clobber some monsters with this T-Rex thing. Another thing you can do. Let's see if I remember how to do it, because I don't have any pictures with me at the moment. But there was an attack where you put the tail on this here, and it can smack the monsters with the tail. So that's pretty neat. But just for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna just leave the Megazord kind of naked like this. That way when we get to combinations with the other Zords, it'll be much easier. Now I forgot to mention, but it does come with this little accessory here, and this is for the warrior formation. Now, you think that this would be an area where you can actually stick something on here, like, I don't know, let's just say these guns here. You think you could stick it on here, but you actually cannot. And it's really frustrating you can't do that. And it's like you're trying to limit the customability that this line can do. But what you do is you put this here, and you just do that for the warrior formation. And it's really annoying that they don't have this as a functional port. And the same thing with the Saber Tiger, which we'll get to a little later. So, just want to get that out of the way there. And now let's move on to the other Zords. Next up are the Triceratops and Stegospike Zords, and these guys are pretty interesting. This is what I was talking about when I said earlier that these Zords in Ryusoulger were just really outlandish. Like, this thing is a Triceratops face, and it has this long sword for the nose horn, which I think is pretty cool. But then the rest of the body is this weird slug-like thing, and it kind of looks like the Triceratops from the MMPR movie. No, the Power Rangers movie from 2017 I was referring to. and it looks really bizarre, but it has some really nice detail, and the head is on a ball joint. Now, I have seen reports that this horn is can get warped really easily. Luckily mine didn't. However, the back of this tail here got warped, and it's really unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world or anything, but it's pretty annoying. And you can see it's got those little connector holes there, and this can come apart, so that's pretty cool. Now onto the Lego Spike Zord. This one's probably my favorite of the individual Zords besides the T-Rex Champion Zord. I always liked the way this thing looked in Ryu Soldier. I think it's called Mill Needle. But I don't know, I just think it's very interesting, and the show things shot out a bunch of needles, which I thought was pretty cool. And there's not really much to say about this one. This one comes apart the most. It can be a little challenging to put it back together, but what's interesting is that these guys, as well as the Saber-Tooth Tiger and the Encarlo, is that it came with these parts. Now, these things can combine with each other. Now, these are just recolors of the guns that were seen on the T-Rex Champion Zord. But there's actually a way you can combine these two on their own like this. Let's get to that right away. And here we have the, oh, hair not included, weird combined thing. They definitely put a lot of thought into it with those extra parts and everything, but it took a lot of mental gymnastics for me to figure out this thing. And it doesn't help that some of the pieces come off very easily, most notably around here. This one comes off very easily. But I also noticed that while I was filming, I accidentally put this here while this was supposed to be here. So I was able to fix that while I was filming it. And yeah, I think it's really annoying with this piece coming off, because most of it is pretty solid except for this piece. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, if it's defective, I don't know. But not much really to say about it. So let's just move on to the last two Zords. The Encarlo Hammer Zord is very similar to the Tricereblade Zord, because it just looks like a slug, and it's got lots of nice detail, and some silver paint, some great plastic, and everything is nicely molded in. And it also has a ball joint at the head. Not really necessary, but it's really nice that they have it there. Also, the tail can swivel and go 360, which is really nice. Not more much to say about this one. And now, on to my least favorite Zord, I believe it's called the Tiger Claw Zord, which I think is an odd name choice because it clearly has this big lance, which later becomes Sword in the warrior formation. But I'm not really a fan of it. It does its job of what it's supposed to do, except here it's got that faked port where you can't put anything, because I thought maybe when I got this, hold on, I thought maybe I could put this here, but you can't do that. So again, like the T-Rex Champion Zord, it limits the customability on this toy, so it's kind of unfortunate. And now, it does come with those extra parts, which now come with these recolored pink drills, as well as those same hand block things, whatever you want to call them. So let's get these guys combined real quick and here we have this other weird deranged mode, and I really do not like this at all. And it's just really stupid, not much to really say about it. You can move this up and down, but it's really top heavy, and yeah, I don't like this at all. Let's just get on with some of the formations with the T-Rex Champion Zord. Dino Megazord, and I think this looks really awesome. got some extra armor. On top of that, it's got this nice long sword to strike at foes. And speaking of swords, let's get to the Tricera Blade formation. And here we have the blade formation, and I think this looks really nice. Maybe it's because it doesn't have the T-Rex on the chest anymore, but it looks a lot sleeker than it already has been. And I really like this head sculpt here. Get a closer look on it. I think it looks really nice. And from what I can see from images online, this actually the helmets or heads of these keys actually are a little bit more show accurate than what's seen in Ryusoulger's toys. But there really isn't much to say, honestly. It's just some parts swapped around. So let's get down to the hammer formation. And here we have the hammer formation. I think this looks really nice, except I don't care for this tail thing sticking out. It's kind of annoying. And that's just not my cup of tea. I kind of wish they just kept the tail on the back and just add something on here. But I guess they need something to make it stand out. But I love this night visor that they made here. It looks really, really nice. I like the paint appliques they put on. It's nice silver and everything looks really clean. And yeah, there's not really much to say for it. So let's move on to, I believe it's called the spike formation. Here we have the spike formation, and this is absolutely fantastic. I think the black and red goes really well together. It's got these nice shields to protect itself, and this Megazord does go into this formation when fighting defensively. And I just think it really works. I love this head, even though it's a little bit hard to see because there's not much paint. I mean, there is black paint on the visor, but they didn't really have much other colors. I would have had some gold for the visor itself, and then, not for the visor itself, but for the lines around the visor, I would have painted that gold. And then have the rest black, but I still think it looks really cool, and this is easily my favorite of all the formations. Now onto the claw formation. And here we have the claw formation, and this is probably my second favorite. I love the colors with the red and green, makes me think of Christmas, and this head sculpt is just badass, and it's pretty easy to see unlike the black helmet one. But everything looks pretty well done, except I'm not really a fan of these leg things sticking onto the sides of the arms, but I guess they had to put it somewhere for this combination. And now for the warrior formation. And here we have the warrior formation, and while this looks really cool, it just makes me disappointed that it didn't use all the parts of the Zords, but for what we got, I think this is very impressive. Now during the filming of putting this form together, I actually made a mistake, and here I got this little piece here, but when I was filming it, it was actually back here. I realized it was here and I made a mistake. But also, I noticed that when you have all these pieces attached, not just for this formation, but especially the spike formation, I forgot to mention that sometimes it limits the articulation. I mean, you can still put it in some decent poses here and there, but it just limits the articulation, especially with this being so heavy on the arm. So what I do, I just leave it down and have the elbow bent, kind of like that, and just split it like that. And I think that looks really cool. And now let's get to some size comparison. Here's the DX Great Icarus, Galaxy Megazord, Kira Majin, Jungle Pride Megazord, Hasbro Megazord, Senpujin, Senkaio Jiragowan, and Lionbot. So overall, I think this is a very amazing set of Zords. And it did take some mental gymnastics to film everything because of all the formations, but it just leaves these with so much fun and imagination to what you can build with these Zords and those Lego ports. And I'm just really impressed, and I think as toys, I think this is probably one of the best mainline Zords we've ever gotten in a very long time, since the days when we had the Japanese molds. It's just very impressive, and I highly recommend adding these guys to your collection if you're able to get them at your local stores, or just get the Amazon pack. etc. Or I got these guys off of Entertainment Earth and pre-ordered them long ago, and they finally came. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.